Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Hello, welcome to More Raw. It's a little bit of extra content for you because here at Raw, we're all about trying to share the love and letting you know about some of the cool things that are going on rave related out there. And there is one podcast about hardcore, which has been going for an incredible 11 years, making it the longest running, if not the best, hardcore podcast out there. It is the Hardcore Will Never Die podcast, and its host Cole Easy C joins us now. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Are you good?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Squeaky chair. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. By the way, Colin sent me some lovely stickers recently. So if anybody is watching this on video, you'll see his stickers of his Hardcore Will Never Die. And also what you don't know, Cole, is that I've just been sending out a load of stuff for our competition that we won. And not only did they win the stuff, they also got a nice Hardcore Will Never Die sticker. So we're sharing the love to all of our fans in many different ways.
Good
so there you go. Well, thank you very much for those stickers. I appreciate it. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, mate. Thanks. Yeah, not getting a bit fat and a bit hairy due to the current situation. No gyms, no hairdressers. Or age, yeah.
It happens to us all, mate. We all get fat and hairy one day eventually.
Yeah, I'm fighting it.
Yeah, it is. It's a boring time, isn't it, mate? How are you coping with it all?
Yeah, good. Yeah. I'm sort of a key worker through the real world of work, so I've just sort of work straight through. No problems. Good stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, more about the social side of it. Really, I was asking. Are you struggling? Because I know that you DJ as well, of course. So it probably impacts upon all that sort of stuff.
Mate, I just miss going for a pan. Do you know what I mean? It's so bad, isn't it? Just going and sitting in the local pub, chewing the fat, having a few drinks. It's hard, isn't it? I suppose it's been so long; it's become normal now, hasn't it? Which is a couple more months, and then we'll be there.
Yeah. We're recording this in March. I don't know when it's going to go out, but we're recording this in March. So by the time this goes out, you never know. We could all we might have forgotten what coronavirus is altogether. Right. So I'm going to do a little quick fire thing for you, just to sort of get to know you, and then we'll ask you a bit about the podcast and why people should go and check you out. It's the Hardcore Will Never Die podcast. But in terms of you, I'm assuming your name's Cole because your name's Colin, DJ Cole Easy C. I'm assuming it's Colin, but what's your full name?
Colin Cooper.
Colin Cooper. Okay. How old are you, Cole?
39.
Okay. Looking good on it.
Right side of 40.
Just about.
Just about.
Looking good on it, but if I may say, a little bit fatter and a little bit hairier than you used to. And where are you from, mate?
I'm from Hull.
Okay. And how did you get into raving?
I got into raving when I was 15 years old through pirate radio, sort of local pirate radio in about 95. And it was sort of predominantly Eurocore and happy hardcore. It was played late on a night, and that sort of got my attention, like sort of the age of 15. So I was writing to the music before I could actually get into the raves.
Right. Although that never stopped people. Generally,
no. I think I'll have been 16. I think 17 when I was going out raving.
What was your first rave?
Just some local stuff. It will have been a night called Fresh in Hull, and a mutual friend of ours, DJ Pursuit.
Yep. Top man made one of our theme tunes.
Yeah. He lives up the road from me. Or used to live up the road from me. Sort of like a lifelong friend. He was DJing at these events and on the pirate radio and all that kind of thing. So he was a bit of a few years older than me, a bit of a someone to look up to, an inspiration.
A face in the scene.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
And so, when would you start going after that to more bigger events over the time?
Yeah. Sort of the people I was sort of hanging around with at sort of like 16, 17, 18 were a bit older than me, and it was the sort of bear for the super club, your Gatecrasher, God's Kitchen, Sun Essentials, and they used to drag me to them. So it was sort of full on trance, full on hard house, and sort of raving and happy hardcore was sort of like my dirty little secret that I didn't have anyone to really go to the events with. Well, I went to a few, but it was in the early days it was mainly the big super clubs like Gatecrasher in Sheffield, God's Kitchen, Birmingham on it. Sort of travelling around the country to those kind of festivals and events, which were massive, weren't they? I mean, trance and the Midlands in the UK, it was a centre of the world for trance back in the late 90s. So it was a big eye opener from going to the local pubs in the town to go to these full on, raves and events around the country. It was good fun.
So why hardcore though?
Why? I don't know. It's just.
Because it sounds like you were going. It sounded like you were going to trance events, but you're now doing a hardcore podcast.
The people that I was sort of friends with, they're full on got the full subclub trance bug, so they went to all them. There's just something about happy hardcore, isn't there? It's fun. It makes you feel happy. It's fundamentally fun, happy music. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't take itself too seriously. So I don't know. There's something touched me with happy hardcore. I think it's the lyrics, the wonderlands, the fairy tales. It's just, who gives a fuck in it? It's just happy music. There was something. It was faster as well. Harder the better kind of thing.
Yeah. And what are your favourite sort of tunes over the years? Like, if you could name a couple.
That's hard from someone who does a podcast every week for the past 11 years. Bang it up. Favourite tracks from when I first got into it. Sort of that Eurocore sound where Axis, So In Love, sort of like a complete Eurocore sounding track. Timo Maas, Final Excess, and Party Animals, Used and Abused, a bit more banging. And what Scorpio playing that.
What were your sort of favourite DJs then? If I mean, there's a slight range of music there, but what were your favourite sort of? Your favourite?
Back then, it'll be Scott Brown, and he probably still is Scott Brown for hardcore, to be honest. He's such an all-rounder. And they say never meet your heroes, and I've played on lineups with Scott Brown a few times, and he's a top geezer. I played in Glasgow with him a few years ago on the same lineup, and me and the MC that I was with pulled up to the hotel sort of late afternoon, and Scott Brown's walking into the hotel in Glasgow for this event, looking like someone out of Harlander. He's a big bloke, big flowing hair, big shirts on. The kid that I was with, the MC that I was with, knew him. So we sort of hooked up, and Scott took us round Glasgow drinking with him and his mates, because he's from Glasgow. And when he's up there, he goes and sees his family, his brother, some of his mates kind of thing. And he took us drinking before the event around Glasgow. So I thought I could drink. But you go drinking around the back streets, the backstreet boozers with Scott Brown. He'll teach you a thing or two about drinking.
Wow.
So, yeah, love Scott
Brown. Fun,
yeah, it was good, man.
I love the fact that he looks like, if you were going to sort of design a stereotypical happy hardcore DJ,
yeah,
it's him basically. But then you could say that about them all back in the 90s. Like, it was like, are you doing this deliberately? Like, with your long hair, your ponytails, and your earrings?
It was the caricatures, wasn't it? That sort of made of them all. Yeah.
And what were your favourite MCs?
Favourite MCs? I'm going to say 3 Star, who was a big MC sort of up north, who came to be my MC, playing around the country with him.
So you've got to say that, really, haven't you?
Yeah. If I was say someone else,
even if you think he's shit, like, you got to say it, really, haven't you?
No, he's spotting his shit. If I was say someone else, I'd say Nats.
Okay. So you like the Northern style ones.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. It's just sort of what you grew up with, isn't it? And sort of the events that you go to. They sort of played all around Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, sort of down south a little bit.
But you see, the ones I grew up with, I don't really like that much now. I'm not going to name them.
Do you know?
But, not really. I think the sort of thing, I'm much, I don't know, the older I get, the more I'm just into the music. And so I want an MC that's just going to complement the music. And for me, that is someone like Ribs.
Yeah, exactly, completely. Yeah.
Exactly. Someone who sort of lets the music breathe and just hypes you up. The lyrics, not really quite my bag anymore. Whereas once upon a time, I would have been much more into that.
Yeah, these MCs out there, aren't there, which are just all about the lyrics, constantly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And what was your favourite rave?
Varbalite. Definitely.
So you do enjoy the Gary Jacques interview?
That was fun. Everything he said about looking after the ravers, putting on a show. It stood out. There was all great raves sort of back in the day, but that just sort of stood out for me. He really looked after the ravers, all the merchandise stalls when you're walking out. Like I say, you used to have tapes ready for you to buy that you just sort of listen to. The production he put on, it was just like, God, that must have cost thousands. And what's the point? Just little details that just made the whole thing. So definitely Varbalite, yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're quite clearly hardcore until you die by the looks of it. So tell us about the Hardcore Will Never Die podcast.
So Hardcore Never Die. It is 2-hour podcast every week. It goes out live on Eruption Radio, which are online and on DAB. And we sort of explore 30 years of UK hardcore, happy hardcore, rave breaks. There's features in there, so it's not just me mixing for 2 hours. There's a record of the week. We do a 3 in a row feature where we choose 3 records from a particular DJ, producer, or record label, and we mix up them 3 records. We have a power mix where we do a 30-minute power mix where we put 2 years up side by side on Facebook and Twitter for like a democratic web vote, and whichever wins that vote, we do a 30-minute mix in that year. And then there's a 30-minute guest mix on the end, which is usually an upfront guest mix from a current producer of happy hardcore or rave breaks. So yeah, that's what we do every week.
It's very musical based, really, and if people sort of want to know about, so we've just launched this. Well, we've launched Tune Tuesdays, where we're sort of giving a bit of love to some of the new young producers who are creating some new stuff. But that's just one tune a week, whereas you're doing it quite a lot, aren't you? And so if people want to find out what is being made now that's new, it's not just like UK upfront hardcore, is it? It's a whole range of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of Japanese hardcore on there, some Italian stuff. So the first hour is really looking at new stuff that's come out that week, and then we'll do like a classics power mix, and 3 in a row is usually something from the 90s or something like that. So there's a good mixture of what's happening now, and a nostalgic nod to the past as well.
Yeah. Well, mate, as all good podcasts should have, right? I mean, I know you've been going for 11 years, but why did you decide to start it in the first place?
I remember just being sat there one time on iTunes on my phone, and I thought, right, happy hardcore, it's my dirty little secret. Let's listen to some podcasts. You know what I mean? People look for the dirty little secrets on the phone at night. I was looking for happy hardcore.
Yeah.
And there was fuck all there. There was nothing there. This is 11 years ago. I know iTunes and podcasts have blown up everywhere now, but there was nothing there. I thought all the big jocks would have podcasts on there, and there was just nothing. So I just decided to start it, which was quite difficult back then. You use sort of websites now, pod site hosting companies, which will do a lot of it for you. But back then there was a lot of submitting to iTunes and dealing with your own RSS feed and meeting certain criteria. And I know it took. I remember there was weeks where I was just checking my phone constantly to see when it was going to get listed, and it finally got listed in there.
I mean, I will say that it's not that much easier these days. It's a right fucking faff to get on in the first place. But once you're up, it's much more straightforward. Did you have any idea that you'd still be going 11 years later?
No. I never really thought that far ahead. I don't think. When I first started, it was just me mixing for an hour or 2 hours, and it was monthly. I started it monthly.
Well, that would have been quite novel, probably, because I mean, recently we've you can't move through Facebook without seeing some shithead doing some crap, crap quality stream. So this would have been quite novel back in 2009.
Yeah, that's when it would have been. Yeah, 2009. Yeah, it was good. I mean, we did it monthly because I think there was restrictions with the hosting back then. It wasn't just unlimited content kind of bandwidth. Back then it was, you had like a monthly growth. So I think that's why I started it monthly. And I only had so many records. I thought if I do this every week, do you know what I mean? You're going to be playing the same records over and over again. Because it was just about anthem bashing sort of when I started it. For the first 100 episodes, it was just anthem bashing 90s happy hardcore really. Back then.
And what was the reaction to it in the early days? Did it take a while to take off? And was there a moment when you thought, oh, this is actually going somewhere here? Yeah. Sort of after when we sort of got to about 100 episodes, and it was Happy Hardcore Classics. It used to be called when I first started it. It was just sort of anthem bashing stuff, and I wanted to play more breakbeat stuff or more of the harder gabber stuff. And with the podcast being called Happy Hardcore Classics, it sort of limited to what you could play. So I changed the name to Hardcore Will Never Die after a couple of years, after 100 episodes. I didn't really think too much about it growing at first. And
I enjoyed doing it. I'd have done the podcast if no one listened, because I like listening back to it and the discovery of new records and all that. Do you know what I mean? And then it just sort of took off.
So in a way, I mean, actually, as a DJ, being as you are a DJ, it's actually a really smart way of getting new tunes, right?
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah, I mean, tunes cost nothing now, do they? I mean, like, what was it?
Well, I mean, that's an
£1.12
unfortunate position that these producers find themselves in, isn't it? It's impossible to monetize. But you know, the thing is, it's more. I'm talking not necessarily about the cost, but you must get sent a lot. You know, you must be right on top of it.
Yeah. You get. I think over the years, I've sort of build up relationships with producers and labels. And there's a lot of free stuff on SoundCloud, and there's a lot of people on SoundCloud where you can buy tracks off them, and you've just got to sort of follow the right people. And over the years and years that I've had SoundCloud, I've just sort of built up a sort of community of people that I go to for that kind of music, or you see their new tunes come up and you can look at them.
Must be a bit of an admin nightmare, though. I mean, I'm even finding just Tune Tuesdays is a bit of an admin nightmare, and I'm only doing 1 tune a week.
Yeah, that's kind of why I sort of do an hour of the new stuff each week. Cause there's so much shit out there, isn't there? Especially with the new stuff everyone's producing.
Not on Tune Tuesdays, mate.
Not on Tune Tuesdays. but the new UK happy hardcore sound, every man and the dog's making it, and they all follow the same sort of formula, same sample packs.
You will have to forgive me here, Carl. I don't know what that sounds like. What is this new UK upfront sound that they're playing? What is it like these days? The last time I listened to upfront hardcore was in about 2004. So,
new UK hardcore. Well, I suppose it's been called UK hardcore for quite a while. For me, hardcore was happy hard. Yeah, it was happy hardcore. Then in the 2000s, it was sort of rebranded as new school hardcore, wasn't it? And then it's now called UK hardcore. And you get Japanese producers making UK hardcore, which is weird. It's all just hardcore. But as long as it's got the sort of...
What's the sound now?
The sound that I like, because there is a lot of shit out there,
right,
is it's got a sort of break beats behind it and a bit of a nostalgic nod to the past. And the riffs and the synths of... There's a lot of new UK hardcore stuff out there, which is 2 minutes long, 2 minutes 30 long. Do you know what I mean? They're just churning it out. A lot of the music, but at least the younger generation are making it, and it's going to push the scene forward, isn't it? I suppose.
You'd hope so. I mean,
they're making it.
We talk a lot about this, and this is partly why we started Tune Tuesdays, because we wanted to sort of reflect that there is. It feels like, I know you say hardcore will never die, but it really did feel like it did die for a while, and actually there is a resurgence in some of the, you know, particularly as well in the breakbeat, that sort of 91 to 95. They're doing some really great stuff. For you, are you feeling that? Are you getting that impression as someone who gets new music every week and plays it out on your podcast, that there is something different and special brewing again?
I mean, it never went away. It just went back underground, didn't it? Which is, it's always been there for the people who are into it. It just, hardcore's always been there. It's just sort of been in the underground. The new breakbeat sound, which I say new, I've got tracks maybe about 5 or 6 years old now, but even before that, a lot of stuff on Night Force, they've continued through, and they're making breakbeat hardcore with maybe a bit of a kick behind it. I love the new rave break stuff. I do some rave breaks dedicated only mixes on the podcast, and they get so much attention. And people are always, track RDs. And with the rave break stuff, I'm just so lazy. I never put them up. But
the reason I ask is that, you know, we sort of see people like, for instance, Chris Howe, Lunacy, moved back from America, big Facebook post about how he feels like the scene is, you know, it's busier than it's ever, it's going to blow up, and he wants to be back here as part of it, maybe putting on a rave, you know, putting out young people who were never around in the 90s, people like Tim Reaper, Coco Bryce over in Holland, Pete Cannon, you know, they're the obvious, but there are others and more, but they're the sort of figureheads, I suppose, in this new thing. But there are more of those. They're young and they're making real quality stuff. That's what I mean. It feels like there's more good stuff being made of that old sound.
Definitely. I think a lot of the people that are making it are sort of maybe our age or a bit older were making that early breakbeat sound. But I hope that continues. There's the events that were sort of happening were more down south in the UK, weren't they, with Calling the Hardcore, and
Yeah.
I saw one today in Oxford.
Ox Breaks, I think it was.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Pete Cannon's on at that one. I want to go to them when things open up again. I'll sort of make the journey and go down to them. There's not really much, because I'm in sort of the north of England, sort of Midlands north. Not really seen much of that up here.
Well, I've wanted to go to that Ox Breaks one, so maybe we can meet up and hold hands or something.
Okay.
We'll get our hands in here together. And you make music, is that right?
Yeah, I make sort of 90s inspired happy hardcore. Sort of 909 kick, lots of breakbeats over it. Keep it silly, sample everything. Some stuff's original, gets released. There's a lot of stuff on maybe my SoundCloud that don't get released because it's just full of samples. Well, it's just good fun to make happy hardcore. You know, you can't go wrong. So yeah, produce quite a bit. Not as much as I'd like to. It is time consuming, as everyone knows.
Of course. Where can people find your stuff?
It's on Spotify. And the new stuff's on Spotify, the original stuff that you can have released. And if you go to my SoundCloud, there's probably some bootlegs and things on there that I've made. There's some fun tracks sampling like Ghostbusters and Cheech and Chong, and you know,
I always used to joke.
sample everything.
I always used to joke to my mate that when you were in a rave and you were really high, that everything just sounded a bit like Ghostbusters, and particularly when I would go to like a tech house night or whatever. But actually yours is Ghostbusters. So I'd be like, this actually is Ghostbusters. And so why should people come and listen to the Hardcore Will Never Die podcast? Like what we do? Because happy hardcore solves everything. Very good. If you just want to listen to people anthem bash, just listen to the first 100 episodes of mine, or listen to someone else, or listen to someone on Facebook. But on Hardcore Will Never Die, it's more a weekly journey with rarities and B-sides and new music. So just, check us out. X amount of pressure, X amount of raw.